Hi everyone, welcome to ELI, the place where you get your daily dose of inspiration for entrepreneurship. And today we have with us Mr. Pradeep Seth, who is the founder of ExchangeConnect, which is a SaaS platform that helps capital market stakeholders to bring their workflow online. It is a channel for seamless communication between corporates, buy side and sell side, and investors. Hi Pradeep, welcome to ELI.
Hi, Priranjan. How are you doing?
I'm
Thank
doing
you so
good. How
much
about?
for calling me. Yes. Yeah.
I
No, I'm fine. Yeah. Go
I
ahead.
would request you to introduce yourself to our audience, please.
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Pradeep Seth. I'm the founder of ExchangeConnect. So what we do essentially is basically our company Essential, which is the company which has got the platform ExchangeConnect, is a B2B SaaS environment focused on capital markets. I will go and detail much about that during the following questions. But yes, I've been in the capital markets for almost about 22 years, and been through various roles of capital market. Started with being a buy side analyst for almost for 6 years, and then moved to sell side research, and then towards institutional equity sales and investment banking for another 6 to 8 years, and then starting on my own. It's almost been about 8 years of my journey as an entrepreneur. That's predominantly about my in summary of all the 22 years of how we've been spending in the capital markets. But I'll take further questions as it comes along.
We would talk about ExchangeConnect in some time, but first we would love to know how did the transition happen from being a analyst to an entrepreneur? What led to that transition?
So after spending about 13, 14 years into the institutional equities and being a sell side and the buy side analyst, um, what came to my mind is combining all of that learning, with all of those years of experience in the capital market, exposed me to a lot of possibilities of emerging technologies, integration into this domain, which can reduce inefficiencies and friction cost. So the best part of it is just not, is what I realize is that this is still the tip of an iceberg. And looking at the current trends at that point of time, and then, as we've gone through, there were multiple models of, engagement on a platform, which we built over a period of time. And I realized that the culmination of finance and technology, which is basically fintech, has been happening in various forms. You've seen fintechs in payment gateways, then into banks and insurtechs and all of that. The fintech aspect of equity capital market was yet to be evolved. And we saw that opportunity. This is as immense as it could be in any other domain of or the segment of fintech. And so I saw this opportunity and basically realized that this is something which I need to spend my time on. And that led to me getting more deeper into all of this and take the entrepreneurial the leap around 2014.
Okay. Tell us a bit about ExchangeConnect, and before that, can you help set the context on what problem it is solving?
Yes. So as we just discussed, that being in the industry for almost about 22 plus years, and I've been an analyst also, I was also struggling with huge sets of data because if you see the problem where it lies, if you see the problem statement amongst all the stakeholders of the capital market, which is the listed companies or the companies which are going to get listed, the pre-IPO companies which are preparing for listing, the institutional investors or the brokerage houses or the exchanges for that matter, each of them have got, each stakeholder has got a problem. The listed companies, especially the mid-sized companies, generally find it difficult to get the right set of audience across the world. So not all have very structured way of doing, communications and investor relations. The companies which want to prepare for an IPO except for the last few leg of months, when they are ready with hiring a banker and then going for the process. Much prior to that, they still need a lot of hand holding in terms of how to go about this process. The institutional investors have got another set of challenge, that they're more focused on the larger set of the companies, the large caps, because the mid-sized companies have got unavailability of research. These sell-side brokerages, as I've been through that, are always focused on the larger cap equities, and they're also constrained with a lot of activities happening with an IPO, or focusing on things which give them volumes and brokerages and all of that. So their focus on mid-sized companies is far lesser, and it does not make so much economical use for them to do that. And the exchanges have got another problem. It's again a 10-90 problem. Only 10% of the companies give them 90% of the volumes on the exchange, right? So the bulk of the mid-sized companies generally do not have enough volume, so they need to do justice on that. So technically, all of them have got some kind of a challenge. Now, the common thread around all of that is data is not available, right? It's not structured. Because the unstructured data is multiple times the structured data. So while you have a lot of platforms, which basically, filters through the structured data and, gives you analytics and all that, the unstructured data is a challenge. Now that that would not have got automated, some years back, and now it's getting automated. So we realize that there is a problem. If you solve, the core of all of this, then, basically there's a lot of opportunity, and then you're multiply solving a lot of problems together. So we saw that as a problem statement since then. And we realized that the mid-sized companies need outreach. And that's where, we basically, put most of our efforts on. That was the journey and the beginning idea of, what led me to, get into this and then finally, launch ExchangeConnect as a platform.
The way I see it, there are two big problems. One is data, and then there is communication. Can you tell us how ExchangeConnect is solving it, and tell us a bit about the platform and what are the different modules that you have inside it?
Sure. So yes, so ExchangeConnect is a platform which is focused on the capital markets, and it leverages data intelligence and AI to facilitate institutional investor outreach, thus helping better price discovery for companies and democratization of the market for most of the participants, including all of these stakeholders what I mentioned. So it uses data intelligence. Which we've developed in-house to transform structured financial data, qualitative data, industry and peer data into highly usable formats and market ready, so that it can derive immense value and meaningful insights for the users, especially the companies. So along with riding the data-led disruption into the IR world, it's an investor relations world, our bouquet of solutions include highly qualified modular solutions, which is supported also by our design lab, where we create documents for the companies. So we are a platform which provides, which is a single platform for a community, including and the contents and the connects, and all the stakeholders are there on the platform into one interface, so that they include the listed companies, the buy side and the sell side, as well as the other investors, can communicate with each other. So the entire intention is to help them build connections, create, manage, and track events, and all of that, and which basically form the bouquet of our solutions.
Going to the business side of it, can you tell us how do we make money as a platform? Who pays us and how?
So the companies pay us, the listed companies and the companies which are going to the IPO. Predominantly pay us through a module of solutions what we give. So for them, it is digital investor relations and communications. So it's, it helps them facilitate outreach better. We have a host of solutions which focus on certain things. Focus on data intelligence, which is the ownership analysis, targeting of investors, and the entire outreach to all the investors globally. So that is one part, where, most of the companies find a lot of immense value in terms of, understanding and identifying their target audience, and which we facilitate. Then there are other solutions which include the ESG-led, solutions, and then on peer benchmarking, and then the design lab where, they can create documents like annual reports, investor presentations, and all. So predominantly, as of now, it is focused on the listed companies and the pre-IPO companies, and basically with the host of solutions. For the institutional investors as well as the sell-side brokerage, it is basically a corporate access platform. So, with having so many companies coming on the platform, it is the easiest mode of, outreach or, connect for them to basically reach out to these companies. So as of now, it is free for the buy side and the sell side and the other general HNI and the other investor community. So for companies, it's adding immense value, and, they basically pay us for solutions.
Take us through the initial days of building this venture. Can you tell us how was your day one, and what all things did you do to build this platform?
So, moving from the institutional equities world to, thinking of something, doing something on our own, itself was a step, and that was definitely very memorable. I think this is with many of them, who spent at least 10, 15 years in institutional equities, and then they step out to do something on their own. It's a transition phase. So, the first thing was, how to get a lot of things done, to plan for what are the milestones which we want to do. Everything was really charged up, in terms of what we want to do and, what lies ahead. And I think the spirit was always very, very high at that point of time, which is still, you need to keep it consistent. So, and, I also realized that from then, it's going to be a steep learning curve. It's going to take its own time, before it shapes up. And, you need to be more patient. It can be 5 years, it can be 10 years into all of that. So the spirit's very high. The focus was very, very consistent that, we'll have to take a lot of time, to build it and, have that much patience. So I remember all of those things, and, being charged to basically be sure that, okay, it's going to take time, but then, you will see something very significant over a period of time. So I remember those days, yes.
A platform is as good as the number of stakeholders onboarded in it. And for all platform businesses, the onboarding the initial set of users or customers is a big challenge. You have to onboard it from the both sides. And when you have sell side only, then the buy side will come, and the same happens other way also. So can you tell us how did you onboard the initial setup users or the customers on the platform?
Yeah. So as you rightly said that, on any platform, to get each of the user community together over a period of time together and over, get them engaged is really tough, like being any other marketplace. So we focused on the listed companies first, to convince them as much as we can, to tell them the benefits of, what it helps them for. And, started onboarding a few set of companies, shown results, told them exactly what they can get benefited. See, this comes with any other founder journey, that if you really want to create an impact, you have to show certain good use cases for companies which they really feel they get benefited. Focus on that, and then basically, go for a wider outreach. So that's what we did. We focused on a selected group of clients, and then seeing that how well we'll be able to give them high impact, show them benefits. Once that started, it was initially very tough. To get the first set of 5 customers was always difficult, and then the 10, and then all of that. So getting them on results, and then showing them the case studies, and then was something which we basically been focusing on and still doing. And then you get the buy side community as well as the sell side brokerages also together. Once they see the traction. So when you want to build any marketplace, at least one segment should be focused very, very, very heavy on. That can influence the other, and you have to be so good that it makes so much of sense that that entire community gets acquainted and gets used to the platform, or in whatever marketplace you're doing, be it in a capital market or be in any other marketplace. So I think that's what we did. Focus deep down on one sect, which is the listed companies, and then have started migrating to service the other user segment.
What are the different challenges that you have faced along the way while building and growing this platform?
So, I mean, the challenges are many. If you ask me, so on anything which you want to do new, you face a problem, right? And more importantly, if it is a financial services-led world, which is predominantly by consulting and all, to digitize something which is more consulting driven is always a challenge, because you want to migrate that to a digital journey. To convince people that being digital or going on platform will give superior results, that was always difficult. It still is taking a lot of time. Of course, COVID has fastened this entire thing, the belief that being digital makes sense. But that challenge had been very, very difficult, and still bespoke solutions, consulting driven solutions is something what always is more preferred, and to help them or to get them migrated to the fact that you will see superior, sharper results using technology. It takes time, and that journey is the most difficult for everyone who who try to embark upon an entrepreneurial journey which is involving technology, SaaS or something like that. I'm facing the same problem. I have faced the same problem in the past, and of course, as a period of time, this will fade away. But this is the challenge what I've seen, and the biggest challenge, like anyone who would find on the digital world.
Any pivots that you have done to your business model?
The only pivot is at some point of time at the start it was consulting led, and then migrated towards being digital. Okay. So that has been the pivot. So initially, and even though we had the focus in our mind that someday we would want to get digital, even 8 years back, that fintech is the thing which will happen. But it takes its own time for migrating, and that's where we needed to pivot ourselves, from being consulting led to being or from being services led to being product led. That is the pivot which we basically have taken.
My next few questions are around the personal side of being an entrepreneur. To start with, can you tell us what drives you to become an entrepreneur and stay an entrepreneur, since you started with a corporate career? So what is the difference?
See, my experience, and I think many of our fellow entrepreneurs will have the same view, that once you achieve something what you wanted to do as a milestone in terms of the phases of life, you want to embark on something where you think you can take some risk. But before that, one needs to prepare himself or herself to basically see that what is the appetite of risk one could take, and the kind of mileage we have before we are able to comfortably be at a position where this becomes safe. So whenever anyone would want to start out, when I did this, basically was calculating what kind of mileage I would have in terms of doing that. And that could be different. It could be for certain people for 2 years. For some, it could be 5, and some it could be 10 in my case. So you need to prepare your spirit in that sense that it's going to be consistent for some time, because you get bogged down many, many times in terms of, when results don't come in, and, people always would want to see instant results. And so the amount of failures, what you see in comparison to the results, will always be far higher. So, still to keep the consistency and then focus on your goals has always been, will always remain a challenge. But I think if you have enough um, mileage for that and are sure that you want to crack it, then it's going to be very consistent and easy. One very important thing, which even I felt, was extremely helpful at that point of time. Believe in yourself, because 10 times, a person will basically believe that, made to think that, are we doing the right thing? Is it going to crack a real problem? Are the metrics right? Am I going wrong, or am I seeing something which others are not seeing, or is it something which I'm not seeing which others are seeing? Where is the vision? I think all of that, boils down to the fact that, how sure we are that what we want to solve, and it's going to take time. It's not so easy. If it was so easy, then hundreds of the people are going to do the same thing, right? And since, being an entrepreneur, you want to do something which is unique. You want to see, you want to solve a problem which can be very different. It will take its own time. And one more thing, what we calculate in terms of what time it can take and what it actually would can always be different. So we have to have our spirits very high. And then, you keep building mileage all by yourself, because as you see growth, as you see some kind of traction, you keep building more and more mileage. So I think I answered, in a much more elaborative manner. But my experience has been around the spirit, the consistency, the kind of mileage, what I could have or what anyone else would have, and just calculate, at least you're safe in that zone, and you can run through.
Just imagine that tomorrow morning you wake up to find that your venture has failed and you have gone bankrupt. What would you do, and what would be your next set of things?
No, so I think one thing what every entrepreneur believes, that there is no plan B. It's always plan A. You have to do it. You can't think about a plan B, and actually you should not. Because if you think about plan B, you'll always get swayed to think that, this will happen and the venture can get bankrupt. But if your spirit's high, it will not happen. So yes, still answering your question, thinking that if something goes wrong, well, I will not use the word bankrupt, and not happen also, and I'm sure about it. But I think if, as long as we feel that we're solving the right problem, you should get up again and redo it. It's absolutely okay, as much as you can. So my sense is that I will always do it again, and if required, thrice, 4 times, 5 times, 10 times, and probably your own idea, which is a very broad one. We keep failing and getting up again and again and again. So if I see over the last so many years of my own entrepreneurship, I would say that there would be many mini and micro ideas which would not have taken off, but still we keep getting up and doing. So I don't think as an entrepreneur should not think about plan B. I know it's tough because everyone feels that a plan B is important, but at least till the time you can sustain yourself, you should not think about plan B. And yes, if the times come, then think, but at least that's not in my case.
How do you manage time on a day-to-day basis, and how does your schedule or calendar look like for a typical day?
So for me, it starts with going to the gym and de-stressing myself early in the morning, and then after that, ready coming to the office at around 8:45. The first half an hour is all about planning the day in terms of the to-do lists to create, and then going back to yesterday's list, and if anything has spilled over, just to ensure it's divided into 3 things: task, emails, calls, and the fourth thing is the meetings, if you want to do. So basically bucket everything in terms of all of these categories, and then see what needs to be done and all of that, and then the spillover of all of the so the first 1 or 2 hours is all about tasks, and then if you have to do calls or something like that, then it goes on to that, and then followed by meetings. Emails come in between, and we plan everything which is market facing, or talking to the buy side, sell side, as well as talking on behalf of the companies, all till 3:34 and all of that, meetings and all of that. It's only after 5 o'clock when basically go to internal stuff, admin, compliance related things and all of that, and then the tech part. So then my meetings with the tech team happen around 6:30. So that goes on till about 7:30, and then around 8, I leave for home. So it's actually a pretty long day. But broadly, I summarize it as planning for the day. Then the entire day, the first part is all about talking to external stakeholders, meeting them, and on all the tasks. And then the internal part starts with the fag end of the day. And then it ends with an interaction with the tech team in terms of product updates and all of that.
As an entrepreneur, you are expected to stay energetic all the time, because you have to drive yourself, drive the business, drive the team, everything. And when as a human being, there would be times you'll feel tired, restless, and you lose your focus. And when that happens, the business also takes a hit. Can you tell us, how do you manage such situations, and how do you come out of it?
See, highs and lows are part of any activity, any business, any venture, all of that, and that everyone goes through. What I've always done at any point of time, if there was any low, I would always look at the big picture, the end goal, where we want to achieve ourselves, or where I want to see ourselves together as a startup, and focus on the big picture. But keeping your spirits consistent is very important. Aura should be very, very strong. Person should emit a lot of positivity every single time. People should not see weakness if there is anything also, because you have to have your spirits very high, because the more you have positive vibes, is the more everyone also gets charged. So I think focusing on that, ensuring that we only are able to emit or showcase the positive parts and the vibes at every point of time, that's very important. And when you're low, if at all, one could think any other way of keeping the spirit high. Could be meditation, it could be de-stressing to the gym, all of that. So I think I do the same thing when when I'm high of spirits. It's always positive vibes. If I want to de-stress myself, it's in the gym. So then you're trying to be very consistent, and then look at the bigger picture. So that's what basically I do in terms of putting up myself in front of everyone.
My final question for you: tell us about the different lessons that you have learned as an entrepreneur that we can take away and apply to our ventures. What are some of the interesting and big lessons that you have learned?
Yeah, so nicely summarizing mostly what I've also told. One should first, make an estimate, and a kind of an estimate of, how long a journey one can actually walk through in terms of where a person wants to, see themselves over a period of time. Create enough I would say, mileage for doing that. Do not have always a plan B in mind. It's not required if you're very sure, because believing in oneself is the most important thing. And as long as we believe in ourselves, trust me, you know what? Actually, it's always difficult to believe in ourselves. It's easier to believe in people. Believing in ourselves is always difficult because you always have doubt. So believing in oneself is very important, and then just go for it. If you feel that, and one more important thing, enjoying the journey. It's so difficult, because as you rightly asked, in the previous questions also, what keeps motivating. We need to enjoy what we're doing. If uh, you know if that's what we can and constantly do, enjoying it, and then I think the journey becomes far more easier, and you will get less bogged down, if at all you really have some kind of stumbling blocks. So I think, if you summarize everything, it's basically enjoying the journey, and keeping the spirits high, consistent. Then basically, everything can be achieved.
Well, on this note, I think we have come to the end of this session. Thanks for your time, Pradeep, and our best wishes for ExchangeConnect.
Thank you so much, Priyaranjan. This was really nice talking to you and sharing my thoughts. And I hope our listeners, would have enjoyed to this podcast and the video. So wishing all my fellow entrepreneurs a very best, and I'm damn sure we can do it together, all of us. This journey is worth taking. You will definitely see the reward far higher than probably the risk what you would want to take. If you basically believe in yourself, and I'm damn sure this is always going to be a positive outcome for all of you fellow entrepreneurs and to be entrepreneurs. And I wish you all the best, and keep your spirits very high once again. And thanks a lot, Priyaranjan, for giving me this opportunity to speak my heart out, and share my views to the listeners.
Thank you, Pradeep. My pleasure.